Hey, what's going on? It's Ferrari, aka the artist FerrariLover, Skinny Andro Boy, and today I'm putting up a video on the manifesto or the kind of purpose of FerrariLover as a band. I trademarked the name as one word a while ago, and I first wrote a song. It was like a kind of like a gothic shoegaze pop song in 2009. And at that time, I was very brokenhearted, and all I had was like a really terrible basement apartment and my guitar. But I was driving one day and I saw this particular Testarossa parked in a garage like down the street from me. It was like, when I say garage, I mean like it was there to be worked on. And it wasn't red, and something about it just stood out to me. Like it literally felt like a sign from God. And because Ferraris are so rare, either they're super rare or they're just materialistic. And to me, FerrariLover is the exact opposite of those things. And so the first song I made that I haven't released yet, I don't know if I ever will, it was called FerrariLover, and then I adopted that as the band name later on. But so I've been working on this project for a long time, and just the beautiful lines of this Testarossa it just speaks for itself, and yet at the same time it doesn't. Like I actually have worked in galleries in Brooklyn, and I worked for the Orange County Museum of Art, and before I became a musician proper, or while I was learning, I did a lot of visual art and video art. And so to me, above all, FerrariLover, the kind of goth gaze artistic movement that has a lot of different elements: new wave, minimal wave, goth gaze, you can call it Ferrari gaze, is very influenced by also industrial, dub techno. But to me, it's a movement that has to, basically, I have to be this movement. It's just my soul's calling. Like I can't escape it. And I just want to note that the FerrariLover, or Ferrari Bones, which is the name I'm deciding on for my to expand my Gothic Couture line of merch into an actual like fashion label. It's kind of this free association, stream of consciousness. I was just inspired by listening to a documentary on vaporwave. So right around the time when I was working for the Orange County Museum of Art in South Coast Plaza, they had, in around 2007, a satellite gallery called the Orange Lounge. Orange is definitely probably my least favorite color, even though I'm a fan of Halloween. But it was very much the MySpace era at that time, and it was mixing highbrow art with shopping. And ever since I was a kid, I really hated malls. But then in a weird way, I appropriated it and turned it into kind of a safe space for me. And there's something about the vaporwave, especially the mall soft aesthetic, the relaxing tones and meditative vibes. So I studied meditation for a long time. I was basically a monk. And my first initial releases as FerrariLover were dark ambient guitar pieces. And during that time working in that mall, but it wasn't me. I wasn't working for the mall. I was working for the museum. I was very, very, that's where FerrariLover was basically born. And that was in 2007. So I couldn't find anyone to make a band with who wasn't, getting loaded. And to this day, it really is like dating, to me personally. Very hard to find the right person to make music with. And yet I feel this kind of connection to the cosmic consciousness. And I really feel that due to greed and materialism, there is possibly some type of revolution, not possibly, on the horizon for the uber wealthy. I think that. So to me, a red Ferrari, it just symbolizes kind of excess and meaninglessness. There's a point where people who run the world today have so much money that it just makes money meaningless. And coming from the background where I come from, where there was, you know, I was close to some politicians and stuff like that through no fault of my own, money, when it's abused like that, really loses any type of meaning. And yet it's so essential for survival. And so I feel that the kind of the haves and the have-nots, when I was first in history class, it was like the landed aristocracy in European history were the haves, and the have-nots were the serfs or the slaves. And I feel that the average person, especially the artist, which so many people, you know, are meant to be playing a violin or in a band, and they have to drive a truck for a living or sit, you know, behind a computer or whatever that is. Actually, at that job at the Orange County Museum of Art, I was sitting behind a computer, but I got to freely, you know, mess around on YouTube in my spare time in between setting up installations and things like that. So above all, a Ferrari that is a color other than something offensive. Like, to me, red, yellow, orange, those are almost offensive colors. And then there's vampire red, which has almost like a glow to it. It's a special type of red. There's too much orange. If we'll get into like color grading and color theory, there's just too much orange, which to me, in the Ferrari red, the F1 team. So I feel that it should be rebranded as black. And as an artist, and with my imagination, I can talk like that and I don't have anything to lose. It's not like, you know what I mean? I can say, hey, I've taken over Ferrari, you know, the company. But of course, I don't really mean that. It's just, that's why I trademarked the name as one word, basically as an artist, to sell music recordings. And so there's something about that ambience background mall music and the symbolism of the Ferrari in general, tying it all together from the kind of like 2007 era into a manifesto to support artists who are forced into dead-end jobs or are not making money. Even the ones who are successful, like in the music business, are pretty much going on tour, living on next to nothing, living in a van, and it looks so glamorous, but you look behind everything, you go under the hood and people are exhausted. They have to pay rent at their apartment back home. So yeah, I think it's something similar to a French Revolution is on the horizon. And I think that I want to prevent violence in whatever way that I can, but some people don't listen to anything other than violence. And I never in my life did I think we would see just this level of basically, like, I gave up on the human race. I really do think that, for me, when I use the word alien, I don't mean it like some type of scary looking creature. I mean just a different kind of the starseed mentality, as would be represented by this baby blue Ferrari custom paint job. It's just the lines, everything, it's gorgeous. And it's one of those things where if you see a car like this, I mean, you can see a random piece of shit red Ferrari in Beverly Hills and be bored to death and just kind of nauseated, but you see a Ferrari like this and it stands out. And I remember when I was studying conceptual art, there was a piece in a museum that was it was a Ferrari and or Lamborghini type. But to me, there's a reason I specifically chose Ferrari, because I have Italian heritage. And so Ferrari, it's just part of, like, the name has been in my family as well. So, but anyway, I digress. You see a Ferrari like this and it really is, you know, it grabs the attention. It's like an anomaly, something weirdly bringing the background into the foreground, if that makes sense. Because you can be just an average person and yet be a Ferrari. It's like if you use the word, you know, if you use cars as a metaphor for the quality of what kind of lover or person you are, at least for me, I want to be a Ferrari, and I definitely know what it's like to have absolutely nothing. As the time I record this, I've never driven a Ferrari. I have a project car that I got a great deal on. That's a BMW F30. But yeah, so anyway, this installation that I saw was this Ferrari Lamborghini type car, supercar, planted with an exotic forest inside the car. And I mean, these plants were very highly curated. So anyway, Ferrari Gaze to me is a music movement. Ferrari Bones, Lace of Spades Records, lingerie skateboards. I'm coming up with all of these brands and labels and terms because it's my passion. I don't have any other choice. And I did study analytic and postmodern philosophy. So when it comes down to like Baudrillard and simulacrum and simulation, I think my idea with the metaphor of the Ferrari is to make pristine and powerful and rare this symbol that could just be a sign of a sign of a sign. Like, you know, the referent in language, when we talk on the news, we've lost the barometer for what real even means anymore. And you hear that announcement of, I think it's called the Stargate Project. It's like, I feel like I've heard that somewhere. So it's weirdly using the dangers of something like AI against itself to basically protect what is real, you know? So I know my alien people are out there, but I'm not interested in actually, like, I've lived a lot of really intense, I've had a lot of powerful, positive and negative spiritual experiences, and angels and demons, all of it is very real. So when I say alien, I just mean something unique that stands out. There's that 𝔞𝔢𝔰𝔥𝔢𝔢𝔫𝔱, a kind of beauty that is so rare. I mean, I gave up on the human race for a reason. People who are just plain old, boring human, drink a beer and watch 𝔤𝔬𝔳𝔢𝔢𝔫𝔱 and go to work and do it all over again and have no problem, like, just eating, shitting, going to bed, getting up and doing it over and over again. If that's, you know, or people who literally use people and hurt them and engage in love fraud and all of that, like, that's not my people. But in my opinion, it's gonna take alien technology and the star seeds and the artists to come forth and allow change to happen that is not so destructive that it completely ruins the planet. Like, and when I say the planet, I mean that in as much a metaphorical way as I do a mental construct, a concept, but also there can be something really disturbing about, for instance, overly technical and just bitchy environmentalists even. It's FerrariLover, Ferrari Bones, Ferrari Gaze. It's taking those who have been othered, who are exceptional and probably have a lot fewer resources at their disposal, and solidifying them as the angels, the aliens, the starseeds that are paving the way for a future that is saves beauty. You know, you think about these wars and these beautiful mosques that have been destroyed and churches all over the world. It's just, and the French news shows that. They show a flyover of what a church looks like in the Ukraine after it's been bombed. It's horrifying. So Ferrari Gaze is not going to let anything happen to TikTok. And FerrariLover, one word, is a movement, and I'm the artist who started it. I'm ferrarikilianwyland. Formerly Nico ferrarikilianwyland, but I'm legally changed my name. So anyway, this has been a very free association, I don't know, stream of consciousness about what my art movement means, and that is the coat of arms. Actually, it's kind of the dark moon That's the Ferrari Lover coat of arms. So thanks for listening. Cheers.